In Business Central, the chart of accounts is the core of all financial processes. This is where we control all our financial processes. In this video, I will demonstrate how it's set up and how we work with it. So first of all, I will enter my chart of account to see the list of all my accounts that we have set up here in our default setup. And let's try to run through what it does in here. To begin with, let me look directly at the overview of all the accounts here. I can see on my chart of account list that my account type can be something different down here. So if I edit my list, I can dive into the account type and see, for instance, account could be a posting, which means I can do direct postings on that account. It could be a heading for grouping data. It could be a total for creating a specific total, or a begin-end total. Let's look at how this works more specifically. So for instance, if I filter on my account number, and I will just see all my accounts starting with number 1, so I can get a limited overview here. Now I can see I have, for instance, my sales of retail, which is a type begin total. It means I cannot post on this account, and it goes on to all the way to my total of retails, which is an end total. So automatically the last line here will be calculated as a sum of the net change and balance, and I can see it here starting from the begin total till the end total. But I can also see my revenue has a begin total starting up here, and it's my sales of retail is embedded in this one, and my total revenue goes down to here. So it's grouping by begin and ends. So the total revenue will be a sum of all the posting accounts, whereas the partly begin and end totals will be sections of that. My income statement account in the beginning is a heading, meaning this is just for grouping purposes. And the last type of account I need to or want to show you is my totaling account. And I have an example here on an account here, my gross profit account. And if I just remove my filter again here, we can see what's that a part of. And I can see the gross profit account here is just a total, and manually I have entered the account totaling, meaning it starts from account 11,000 and ends in the last account here, and it only includes all the posting accounts in that calculation. The net change column is displaying the posting in a specific filter interval, and my balance is displaying the total. So now those two are the same because I haven't added a date filter to my chart of accounts. So if I'm adding, for instance, a date filter here, filter totals by date, and I would like maybe to see everything from 2018, and I can add a filter for that. And now my net change column will display, here it comes, it displays everything that happened in 2018 within this filter, and my balance will display the total. Likewise, I could filter on many other different flow fields, and they will display in the net change column what's in the filter, and the balance will display the total. So when I dive down into my account now, I can see my net change when it opens here is only some entries, whereas if I drill down in my balance account, it will display everything on that account. So this is how the dates are working. Now let's try to enter an account chart to see how that looks. And we could take, for instance, the 11301, my revenue of retail. There's some setup on this account chart. So I can edit my account chart, and I will just run through some of the fields in here. So I have my account number, which of course relies to the placement in the account. I have a description, and I can determine here whether it's an income statement or balance sheet account, and it has to fit into my hierarchy in the chart of accounts. And then I have my account category and my account subcategory, which are used for reporting purposes. So once I select an account category, I can select between different subcategories that is set up. So these are for reporting. On the right hand side, I have my reconciliation account, which is just a check mark I can select or deselect. And this basically means if I want to look into the account totals from different journals. So for instance, if I look into my payment journal, and I've cheated a little here, let's look into a payment journal. And I've added some lines here. Maybe I'm about to receive some payments from 2 customers, and I've made a payment for a vendor. And if I scroll a little right, I can see the amounts, and I can see the balance account here. And now if I want to know what is happening on my bank when I actually post this journal, because those 3 or 2 different accounts are set up as reconciliation account, I can click bank and reconcile, and I can do that also from a normal GL journal. And in here I can see all the accounts that has a check mark in reconciliation. So here I can see my net change in this specific journal on my the one account and the other account, and it totals up from this journal, and I can see my balance after posting this account. So when I post this, this will be the balance on my 2 bank accounts. Let's go back to the account chart. Next to the reconciliation account, I have my direct posting checkmark, and this determines basically if I'm allowed to do direct postings on this account in journals, for instance, or if I can only do indirect postings, meaning a posting coming from documents. On the posting tab on the account chart, I can set up different selections, and I don't have to fill it out. It could be blank if I want to, but it can help me do default postings when I enter journal lines manually in my GL journals or purchase journal or sales journals. So normally this information would come from customers and vendors and items or resources, but it could also come directly from my GL account. So here I could set up my general posting type, I could set up my general posting group, my general product posting group, and VAT for those group. So my general business posting group is normally applied to who I'm buying from or selling to, and often also where it comes from. So it's both a matter of location and a matter of who I'm selling from and buying from, whereas the product posting group applies to what I'm selling or buying, meaning items or resources, whereas the other is customers and vendors. So this determines the accounts that I'm going to use in the different mix of business posting and product posting. And this is all set up in the general posting setup, so I'll just show you quickly how it looks, but not go through that in this video. So if I have my general posting setup, you can see the first 2 columns is a mixture of my general business posting group and general product posting group, and depending on what mixture I'm coming on purchase documents, sales documents, or directly in the journal, it determines here which accounts to post to. In my general posting setups, the accounts this group, so I have my sales account first, all the relevant purchase accounts next, and my inventory accounts in the end. So if I make a sales journal line to a specific vendor, all these accounts will determine where all the different amounts goes into. So this posting setup is explained in another video, and it's of course very complex to maintain. And likewise on the VAT posting setup. Last field I want to show you on the GL account card is the default deferral template, and I haven't set up any in here, but there you can set up a deferral code saying you want to defer this in 3 months or 12 months or whatever. And if you post in a journal on an account that has a deferral template code, one line in the account will be split into the different periods of this deferral according to this template that you set up here. Let's take an account and look at the entries, and I'll take an account with which I know has many entries on it, just to show you. So I'll take one of my inventory accounts here, my raw material account. If I go into this account chart, like this, I have different navigation possibilities that I want to show you here. From my account function here, I can go into my ledger entries and I can see all the entries on this specific account. I could also have opened this field directly from my chart of accounts. So here I have all the entries, the amounts, and all the information. And there's default a filter here on my GL account because I'm coming from the DL account. I could also filter on other stuff, and I can remove the filters on a GL account. So let's say I want to see the document number 133 only in the end here. I could place myself on a line here and filter to this value, or manually enter this filter on this value. And this is all postings on this document number on this specific account. And if I remove my account filter here, I can see all the postings on this document number, which is quite a lot, of course. From each of those entries here, I could go into my process and I can navigate to see all the entries, all the posting done on this specific document number. So here I can see that the related entries is, for instance, a production order. This way I can see where does this posting come from. Well, it's a production order list here, and I can see the production order and go further into that one. I can see I have 54 GL entries, and that was the one we saw in the background, of course. I can see all my item ledger entries coming from this specific posting. I can see here there's a lot of consumption and there's one output. So this is the item impact that came from this posting. I can see value entries, which is both direct cost and indirect cost. It's output and consumption, and it relates to my item ledger and my capacity ledger entries. And the last I could see here is my capacity ledger entries here that is made from my production. So this way I can navigate through the document number. So every time I post something in Business Central, the document number is binding it all together. And the last thing I want to show you is I can open this in Excel, so I can export the view that I'm looking at into Excel just by clicking here. And of course it relates to the filter that I've applied in this view, meaning my document number and not my account number. So here I can see all my entries opened in Excel, and I can use that for all kinds of reporting purposes.